why are so many studios abandoning their custom engines for this? Halo dropping Slipspace engine for UE5. MG3 remake is using it instead of Fox engine. Watcher 4 is using it instead of Red engine. Unreal. Now, I didn't put this in there. You did. So you're going to have to...
I did, simply because this was kind of a talky point.
Question.
It was a good question.
Well, I mean, why not? It's Unreal 5.
Well, not just that, but here's the thing. All these engines listed are horribly outdated.
Yeah.
And they haven't been...
I know why Halo's doing it.
Yeah.
The people working on Halo nowadays have no idea how to fucking use their engine anymore. They've admitted to it, the fact that they have no idea how to properly
because they got rid of all their skill, and that's
all their skilled talent has left the company. So that's why they're moving to Unreal 5.
And it's probably cheaper
for everything else, I'm sure.
Hey, look, I work in 3D, okay? If you have a renderer, there's no reason to rebuild, to reinvent the engine. You know, there's absolutely no reason to do this. If there is one out there and it's very good, there is no reason to spend valuable resources trying to maintain and update your own engine that may not even be as good as this industry standard that's out here now.
Also, when I went to college, and I went to college for, computer information systems, the first thing, literally first day, first sentence was, we do not reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
We improve upon it.
Yeah.
So literally it was like, one of the good things, and I will say this, it was a good college anyway.
Until
there's stories there, but I'll say like the actual core, professors, the classes were good. Blew my mind that some people actually came in PJs with a pillow and slept through it. Your money. And the professors didn't care. They're like, it's your money. Yeah. I get paid either way. So the thing was that they wouldn't give us, they would literally say, write a payroll program. And that's it. Literally, the instruction was, go do this, figure it out.
Yeah. And
then sometimes they're like, okay, we're going to do it differently. Here is a payroll system. There are several problems. Fix them. And that is how you do programming. You don't handhold at all and have people learn. Like they taught us how to figure things out, not just here's the answer. And I really like that about
that's the thing that is lost lately.
Right,
especially for the current generation going into the workplace and coming out of college and stuff. Because like one of the number one complaints I've ever heard from people who have to hire and stuff like that, and then get rid of people, and complaints myself about this, about our drivers, is they can't. You tell them you need to do a thing, get it done, and unless you hold their hand and practically walk them through it, they just can't do it.
Same with the guards I work with.
People from, say, my generation. Well, I'm an elder millennial, right? A zennial somewhere in there. So, it's not really my generation, because the millennial generation has this problem too, because they were falling into that trap, especially the younger ones in my generation. But
yeah, they,
we were some of the last few who were just said, here's an issue, resolve it. And then we had to figure out how to resolve it on our own. There was no, well, what if this, or hey, this, or how do I do this? I don't know. Your job is to fix it. Fix it.
Yeah, they basically want life run on rails.
Yeah, which is why I like it when I get older drivers, because they're easier to deal with, because it's like, hey, look, I need this to go to the shop. Get it there. And it's like, okay, you got it, boss. And these younger drivers is like, I have to... The joke is I have to write it out in crayon on construction paper.
Yeah.
And draw them a picture on what to do. It's like, okay, I need you to take this to the shop, which means I need you to drop this here. When you leave there, take this, go to the shop, drop it at the shop. You're going to disconnect from that. You're going to connect to this trailer that should be there. Use this key, by the way, to unlock the thingy. This key. Yeah, this key here. Use it. unlock the thing.
They got distracted when you jangled it.
And then remember this key here. And then you're going to take that and take it onto over here, where you're going to then drop it off, pick up your load, and then come back and then continue as normal. Instead of, hey, we need to get this to the shop.
Yeah.
It
honestly,
really irritating.
it's best to just say, we need this result, get it done.
Yeah.
And then just let them figure out how, as opposed to trying to slow walk them through all of these things,
Yeah, it's bad in security too, let me tell you.
Yeah, and the worst part is you have to do it every time.
No retention.
You have to do it every time. I mean, I've had several drivers where I had to literally write it word from word, a paragraph long in text, and send it to them exactly step by step every time I needed them to do something that was not normal. The normal drop at A, pick up at A, go back to B, and then redo that over and over again.
Okay.
Right?
Let me give you this scenario. My story time. This happened a day ago, by the way. This is like last night. I'm getting
fresh and salty over it.
It's almost time for me to get off work. Let me tell you, I love that every time it's almost my time to clock out, I get everybody and their stupidity every single time. So if you guys ever see me frustrated in a day, probably that. I'm a security professional. We monitor cameras, a bunch of other stuff. So I get a call from one of the other sites saying, "Hey, I can't find my cameras aren't working." I'm like, "What's going on?" They're like, "Well, the icon's blinking orange." I don't know what that means. It means that she minimized it. She minimized the fucking window. And she was like, yeah, I can't see my cameras at all. Are you having trouble? I'm like, no, I'm not having trouble because I'm not a retard. Wanted to say that, didn't. Still need the job. She was like, what do I do? I was like, just close out of the cameras and bring them back up. Because I knew that was easier than trying to actually tell her to click on it. She's like, yeah, okay, I'll do that. If it doesn't work, I'll just restart the computer.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, go do that. Click.
Go do that.
The thing is that it's doing something and not knowing what happened. That's fine. That happens to everybody. If you've done it for the first time and you weren't paying attention, or the cat walked across it and all of a sudden everything's gone, you're like, holy crap, I don't necessarily know. I don't fault you for that. What I do fault you for is A, not trying, or two, if someone actually knows the answer and says, well, this is what the problem is, this is what happened, you don't take steps to actually learn from that.
Well, I've largely given up.
Yeah, there are people who just they're utterly, and I deal with this a lot with my family.
I have more patience with my parents.
They just want the big red button, you know. They're like, oh, well, just tell me what to push. Well, I want to explain to you why it's broken, so that way you understand. And you can understand the logic behind how to fix it. And you're like, no, just tell me what to do. Okay, no, I'm not going to do that. Or it's going to be painful every time you accidentally do something. So if you understand what it looks like when this sort of error happens, you can understand how to fix it. And they'll go, oh no, I'll just memorize this. That's not how it works, dude. It just doesn't. You don't memorize steps. You memorize processes. And this isn't a process. You're just saying, click this button, click that thing, do this thing. You're not going to remember that. I wouldn't remember that.
Yeah, so I love my dad, but let me tell you, when you mention error, he's just going to get pissed. Like, okay.
Hello, quick, I am error.
Real quick story time. My dad called me one night, and I love my dad. My dad is amazing. He's an amazing man. You give him a car, you're going to get the same car but fixed.
Give him a broken car.
Yeah, my dad called me one night, and it was like 3 a.m. I was not in a good mood of having this call because I actually worked days that time. He calls me, and he is immediately cussing into the phone. And I'm like, Dad, what's wrong? It's like, this MFing website, I hate these computers. What the fuck is an Annie key? I got the call that we all joke about, but for real. And I was like, in half sleep state, I was like, oh, okay. Any starts with A. A is the any key, Dad. Just whenever you see that, hit A. Now, you know
press
you can
any key to continue.
Now you can pry off keys, right? Like the face keys. Now, after I told him that, I may have played a little bit of a prank when I went over to their house and popped off the A key, and then got another call at 3 a.m.
I don't know why you did that, because I was like, oh, this is just asking for sadness.
No. This was, you know what? I'm okay with this. This was what I wanted. And he's saying he can literally not find the A key. And I was like, and I had it in my hand, like, funny that.
Distracted. Games don't have instruction manuals these days.
Yeah. But yeah, I popped it on next time I visited. I popped it back on, and I just told him press the N key because that's the next one.
But anyway, yeah. So they're moving over to.
I think it's
Unreal,
a good move,
and I think it's a fine move. There's nothing wrong with that.
I think there is some
happening because they've been trying to use, especially just on the Halo side. Halo's been doing for years. They've been trying to use that engine. All their talent that knows how to do anything with it is long since gone at this point. They're going to have to do something. Now, I don't like the idea of them trying to make it more like Fortnite with that third-person move or whatever they were talking about a while back. Not too sure about
I think they abandoned that, by the way, because they got such backlash. It was insane.
I mean,
my only concern with them going with Unreal, though, because everybody's going there, this kind of gives the people who created Unreal some very, very big persuasion over.
Well, we can talk about engines. We've done that one in the past too. Because who was it who made that one move? Wasn't Unreal? It was the other one.
Get it? Well, it was Unreal. It was Unreal caused a problem. Then people moved to Gadget. Then Gadget caused a problem, and then it got forked.
I think that you do run the risk of having a monopoly, and when there's a monopoly, the person who has, the monopoly board does have a lot more sway. So there is always that danger. But also, it's like saying, well, we need to build all of our own computers so that, and like, look, at some point you're going to have to use over the counter stuff. So you just kind of have to decide when and where you're going to do that. And if these developers are going to, I mean, they're already putting out crap. So if they can maybe, I don't know, use the resources that they have and actually just put it into making a good game that actually works on day one, then, I mean, I guess that this might be a better use of their money and their dollar dues.
See, the funny thing is, I don't think the problem is necessarily with most of these games. I don't think the problem is the engine or the mechanics. I think it's just you all have shit writers, shit storytellers, and
Well, they're mostly morally bankrupt. It's not even that the story is bad in and of itself. The story is bad because the characters are bad and the morality is bad, and that's not how the world works. Or if it does work this way, you made you played the villain in this story, and you don't understand why we're all like horrified at the way that you're trying to portray them. It doesn't work and it doesn't resonate, and it's basically trying to tell us that there are 5 lights when there are clearly 4.
No.
Yeah.